Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Good morning and welcome to the Sunday service. This morning we're going to meditate few minutes, maybe 10 minutes. After the meditation, Venerable Sridhar is going to give a Dhamma talk. After the Dhamma talk, you can ask the question. And last item is chanting. So right now, Venerable Chandasara is going to lead the Metta meditation.
Now let us breathe in and breathe out gently to prepare our body and mind to spread loving kindness thoughts. So let's breathe in and breathe out gently for a couple of minutes. Now let us spread loving kindness thoughts to all the living beings. In this way, may all the living beings be physically well. May all the living beings be safe. May all the living beings be mentally well. Let's continue spreading loving kindness thoughts in this way until we hear the bell sound. Sad, sad.
Thank you, Venerable Sir. Today our speaker, Venerable Tri Dao. He's originally from Vietnam. He's living in Florida these days. I never see him. I see his lot of program. And Venerable Sir, again, thank you so much accepting my invitation to give a Dhamma talk at BMC. You have at least 45 minutes total time. You can speak maybe half hour or 25, 30 minutes. Then our audience will ask the question and answer. You can question and answer. You can answer the question. So thanks again, doing so many good things for the whole Buddhism all around the world. I know you are a very busy person. Thanks again accepting our invitation. So you can start your Dhamma talk right now.
Good morning to all of you on this wonderful, beautiful Sunday. Salutations and my deepest respect to all of the venerables here this morning. Thank you for inviting me to IBMC for this morning's talk. I'm not sure what the topic of today is for today's talk. Venerable Shanti. Or do I pick a topic?
If you want to take a topic, is okay, but you can go ahead. Whatever you like, you can talk about regarding about the Buddhism, practicing meditation or anything.
I see. Okay. So let me ponder real quick here about a topic, because I'm not able to see the class or the ages of the students. So therefore I have to pick a topic that is relevant and applicable to most of our audience here. I think today's talk is going to revolve around centralizing back to our practice, given what is going on in the world right now. And as I have noticed that a lot of my younger students are veering off course, a lot of anxiety in the lay people when it comes to being exposed to the media and what the media covers. For example, the war in Ukraine and Russia, things that are going on, and injustice, inequality can really stir a person up, can really stir your heart, can really disrupt. So it's important to bring our attention back. Oh, I have all these buttons here. Let me it's important to bring it back to the Buddha Dhamma and to remind ourselves how much work we have to do as a human. And the more suffering that we experience, both mind and body, in the first noble truth, dukkha, we see that if we don't want to suffer again, we must try not to come back into this human realm again. Though I agree that the human realm in rebirth is a favorable realm rebirth, because we have a mixture of suffering and a mixture of pleasure. right? It's all these mixes in a pot that makes up our human realm, the human experiences, the 5 aggregates, the 5 khandhas. But for me, based on my experience, it is quite of a journey, and no one exempt of the type of sufferings that we have seen. No one exempts the type of sufferings that the Buddha have described in the suttas. I have told my students, I said, I don't know about you guys, but lifetime is enough. One lifetime is enough. And if you live it right, then one is enough. Our aspiration is to transcend our suffering. If it is our goal is to achieve nirvana, nibbana, or Pure Land, whatever fits the definition of peace in your life, free from disturbing emotions, is the definition of peace. Then one should look at one's practice very closely and very honestly as to how well one keeps the precept. With things that is going on in the world, it's easy to break the precepts, particularly when it comes to the use of intoxicants. Yeah. And listening to music. I had a student yesterday said, I don't understand why we have to keep the precept of not listening to music, engage in entertainment. Well, it's because we don't have time to waste. And the intention of the Buddha is to do exactly that, is to remind us to bring it back to ourselves, to look at the details of our practice, how diligent we are in this practice. And how well do we understand the Four Noble Truths? How much of it have we seen for ourselves? And so part of being human is that we simply forget. We forget, well, a lot of things actually. We forget what it's like to suffer sometimes. We forget that we are also subject to death. It's amazing. We forget a lot. This is why marriages fail. This is why we make other people angry. This is why we make ourselves angry. It's because we forget, we simply do. So mindfulness, sati, means, of course, to stay in the present moment, but to also reminding ourselves to observe how our mind is jumping, whether it is jumping forward, jumping backwards. Backwards meaning depression, forward means anxiety. All of these things make our mind not stay still and present. And how easy it is that we act on the information that we have perceived in the world. I apologize. Some of my students are on the Discord and they're hitting all sorts of buttons, all these noises. I'm not good with technology. When when we look at the Thai forest tradition, when we look at Thai forest monks, when we look at monks in general, our ideal place to be is in the forest, divorced from society, and not to be engaged so much with worldly affairs. Now, however, in modern day, we have to see that some temples are now located in the city, in a very busy city, and that we too are humans as monks, and we too have to remind ourselves to bring it back central to our practice. One must ask oneself, how often do I meditate? Do I see the benefits of meditation? How often do I listen to Dhamma? And how often do I take the Dhamma to heart? How often do I apply the Dhamma in everyday life? How often do I practice the Noble Eightfold Path in everyday life? Is there something in right view that I have to try to be better at? Is there something in right livelihood that I could change? Is there something in right speech that needs to be amended? Is what I am saying under right speech constitutes, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it beneficial for everyone that is involved? And is the timing of such speech correct at this time? We can see clearly that how skillful we have to be when it comes to engaging with other humans. So, right now I have a lot of young students and, young college level students, high school level students. They're all over the place. They get themselves in all sorts of trouble and drama, breakups, all sorts of text messages back and forth, fights, jealousy, anger, greed. And my favorite in the No Wakeful Path is right speech. That's because we can see that words spread like wildfires. And so I have to tighten everyone up in the class and I have to tell them, speak only when necessary and be around people only when necessary. And the teachings of the Kalyanamitta, choosing the wise friend, the friend that is same on the spiritual path. And when we look at all of this, why there's no peace in our lives is because maybe there are elements that is missing, that has not been yet fulfilled, or has been halfway fulfilled, according to the teachings of the Buddha. And so it's no different than trying to patch our roof, and we still have water leaking down from our roof. That's because we haven't patched it all the way. It's like cleaning the dishes, but when we ate a big steak and there's a big stain on the wonderful white dish and we couldn't get it off, or we do it so quick that we forgot that the dish is not fully completely clean. So central to our practice is to look at that roof again, re-examine that roof when things outside of us disturb us in some way, shape, or form. And we see ourselves reacting to it in anger, when we have an opinion about it, when it steers us away from the word peace, free from disturbing emotions. When we feel distant from the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, we got to reel it back in, reeling it back in. I have found that there is so much to do with the instructions that the Buddha have gave us to study, to learn, to practice, to know what needs to be known, to practice what needs to be practiced. Know what needs to be known, study what needs to be studied, practice what needs to be practiced. And when we look, the Theravada tradition, particularly very analytical, very psychological, when we look at each elements of the Noble Eightfold Path, studying the Four Noble Truths, meditating on the Four Noble Truths. I have a student that meditates on the Four Noble Truths weekly. How beautiful is that weekly? And the other thing is that there is so many different types of meditation to engage in, to reinforce our practice, to solidify our practice, to strengthen our spiritual journey path, to strengthen our spiritual growth and development. All of the satis and all of the anusatis. It was recently that I gave a talk on the 10 recollections. But when we just look at in more simpler way of practicing meditation, when we look at, you have samadhi, right? You have tranquility meditation, you have calming meditation, that is samadhi. And then you have techniques in the samadhi. And in the techniques, you must ask yourself, well, which one do I practice the most? Which one do I like? Which one do I don't like? Which one do I need to work on? And then we have the 4 protective meditation functions. We have recollection of the Buddha, Buddha Nusati. We have metta. We have loving kindness meditation. We have meditation on the 32 parts of the body, Asubha Bhavana. And then we have meditation on death. So when your life starts to steer away and busy doing this, busy doing that, and not practicing and not looking at our active suffering, we are very, very far. We have to really back into death meditation because it reminds us the expediency and urgency of time. Each type in the Noble Eightfold, each type of meditation in the 4 protective meditation function as found in the Visuddhimagga is aimed to protect you from worldly affairs, is aimed to protect you from Mara, your own psychological mind, your own psychological demon. It helps to steer you straight on the path. And when we look at each element's, just a Subha Bhavana alone, meditation on the 32 parts of the body alone, to analyze each part of the body, elemental constitutions of the body, water, fire, elements. We see how much of this we've forgotten, how much of this we did not bring to the surface of our conscious level, mind. One can see that it's all interconnected. All of the teachings of the Buddha is connected, and it also expands once you go with one thing. You know, for example, I just gave an example of the meditation of 32 parts of the body. Why? Because we're very attached to ourselves, me, my, and I, and sense of control. We have to see the I'm sorry, one second. Okay. My students are driving me crazy on the Discord right now. Goodness. So we can see that it ties into control. We have to, again, look at what is the point of these meditations? What does it aim to treat? What does it aim to supplement our life? A Subha Bhavana is very important. The practice of the non-self, very important. Anatta, found in the Anatta Lakkhana Sutta. A lot of these suttas, a lot of these teachings and practice, people run away from. People steer away from. No, I don't like to practice this. I like to practice loving kindness because it's easier. It's easier on my heart. I don't want to bring things to the surface level. I don't want to practice Paticca Samuppada. I don't want to practice the 12 links of dependent origin. I don't want to look at the links of influence in my life. I don't want to trace back. I've been running away from the pain, sorrow, misery, suffering. But it is exactly that running away that compounds our suffering even more. No one can save you. No one can and no one may, said the Buddha. But the good thing is that he left us so much instructions in details, in chronological order, a methodology to follow. And all we have to do is just follow. When I was younger, I always thought that I was right. I was right on a lot of matters. I had an opinion on things left and right. And it is not until I hit rock bottom in my life that I realized I don't know anything. And I don't want to suffer anymore. It was a very honest conversation with oneself. And I gave up. That means surrendering. We put both hands up. We realize that we don't know anything and we need to veer towards the Dhamma, the most comprehensive and most effective educational system that the world has ever seen. Until today, I'm still a student. And I don't think I'll ever stop being a student in the Dhamma, in the Triple Gem. I went to 4 years of college. I went to Edgar College for 4 years, and I aspired in my younger days to get my doctorate, because well, to me, a doctorate was a really long time, 8 years, and another 3 more years of practice. So any psychologist that wants to practice needs to have at least 11 years of practicum, theory, internship. And now that becoming a monk, I realized that it would take this lifetime, this whole lifetime, to study all of the suttas, joyfully study the suttas. It's not a complaint. Every time when I study the life over again, it gives me so much joy, because I imagine in my mind, I start just like the Vajrayana school, a lot of imaginations, and I put myself in the days of the Buddha, in seeing the 4 sights and the struggles that the Buddha himself had to endure. And how we have to endure. We have to cultivate patience, diligence, effort to endure to these tough times together. The good thing is the together part. The good thing is that's why the Sangha is here. We all are going to lead together. We're all on this raft together to get from point A to point B, to the path of liberation. And how beautiful that is, to know that you are not alone. We try to cultivate ourselves to be the wise, and to also hang around with wise people. And the Sangha aims to do that, to bring like-minded people together on the spiritual path, pursuant and goals, intention of cultivating growth and development on the spiritual path. We actually don't have a lot of time in this world. We really don't. The time to study, the time to eat, the time to sleep, the time to take care of our wife, husband, children, grandchildren. And when we look at the time that we study the Dhamma, it's only half hour. Listening to a monk, half hour, 1 hour. Meditation, 15 minutes. It should be, meditation should be looked at a pill of medicine. So if the doctor tells you that 81 milligram aspirin is good for you daily, you would take it. If you have a infection right now, whatever the infection is, you the doctor says, oh, these students. Oh, it's not easy being the monk that I am, with 1 million followers on TikTok. This is what happens on a Sunday. So if you have an active infection, and the doctor says you need to take Cipro 500 milligram 4 times a day, 500. Well, I've never seen that, but I'm just giving an example. It's usually twice a day, 500 milligrams. Well, let's say we cut that up, 250 milligrams each, 4 times daily for 7 days, or so on and so on. And that's how we make it into a habit of meditation. and really seeing the benefits of it. So I don't know about our audience in front of me, or audience that is present at the temple over there. But, I've been meditating this is going on my 20th year of meditation. I've been meditating since I was 14 years old. The first 15 years is samadhi, the Butto technique, in breath But, out breath To, Butto, Butto. And the last 5 years studying Vipassana and practicing Vipassana. And so now when I close my eyes and I meditate, there's absolutely nothing that comes up from the past. And I hope to inspire all of you by and through my own example as a young monk, very young, 34 years old, and still considered a junior monk. I will always consider myself as a junior monk. But, by and through my own practice, I hope to inspire all of you that when you practice correctly, then that's our goal, is not to have any remainders of the past. And when I close my eyes, there's no remainders of the past. I have come to peace with all of it. Then I am convinced that there's nothing in the future that I should be worried about. And all there is the present moment. The birds chirping, the trees, the wind, the leaves that are falling, the ducks, the lake. I'm there. Where you go, there you are. And it's amazing to know what peace is actually like, and how much more of these moments do you want in your life? As a matter of fact, once you have perfected the art of meditation, then you have to teach it to others. It's the gift. It's a wonderful gift. The gift of the Dhamma, the gifts of the instructions in the Dhamma to help others achieve peace around you. Whoever's looking up to you right now, there are always teachable moments in life that you can take that opportunity to give the gift of the Dhamma, wherever this person is in their life, whatever it is that they're suffering. What I'm doing for all of you, you guys can do for others. After we have obtained this gift, after we have to practice this gift diligently, effectively, efficiently, then we teach others to do the same. So now I talk about a little bit of Vipassana. The whole time I've been talking, no mention of Vipassana. He said samadhi, he said 4 protective meditation functions, 10 recollections, the 10 anussatis. What about Vipassana? Vipassana, very, very crucial, very, very important. So when it comes to this practice, I have found, and it may not be a one size fit all for all of you, is that I have found, first and foremost, you have to understand the mind if you have depression, anxiety, if you're suffering in some way, shape, or form, the existence of any mental health issues, we have to try to uproot that. We have to try to analyze that and see what's going on. Studying our mind, studying the behavior of our mind before entering samadhi. Then after a long period of samadhi, the mind has been brought under control, is well attended to, and is well disciplined. Okay, as a direct result of having piercing insight into whatever depression that is, or anxiety that is, or PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder that is, we slowly crawl towards the four foundations of mindfulness. But the first thing is Gaya Nusati, and recollection and being mindful of, first and foremost, our body. And samadhi prepares you for that, especially watching the breath in, breath out, breath, the length of your breath, the intensity of your breath, the temperature of your breath. Everything about the breath, everything about the movement of the breath, into the details of the movement of the breath, prepares us for meditation on Gaya. Kaya, Vedana, Chitta, Dhamma. So it all has to connect. It all has to make sense each step when we go into Vipassana, because to me, Vipassana is advanced level meditation. Though I have seen teachers go straight to Vipassana and skip Samadhi, we have very notable teachers out there that uses the noting technique, Mahasi Sayadaw technique, where if you sit and there's just pain and you just note the pain, to see the true nature, reality of the pain. I find it difficult to grasp the concept, to understand what we're doing there by just repeating or to noting without prior knowledge or practice in samadhi, without prior knowledge of our depression, our previous or present psychological pain. But it is only my take. It is only within my opinion of practice. And it cannot apply for all. And so everything has to make sense per foundations of mindfulness. And you move to the pleasantness and unpleasantness in Vedana, right? The mindfulness of the mind, Chitta, and then finally world phenomenon, Dhamma. Now, of course, I can take the whole week talking about Vipassana, but the end goal here is to see the three marks of existence, which is, the four foundations of mindfulness, sometimes difficult to understand. But now here comes the easy part, which is impermanence, dukkha, and anatta, which is easy to understand. When I need my students, my students to understand quickly the three marks of existence, I tell them, listen, your car, your phone, is it just look at the phone. Look at the phone. Look at anything around us. Look at the lamp behind the monks. Look at your clothes. Do you think it's going to last forever? Is it subject to change? Is it always going to be pleasant? As a matter of fact, because I have so many young students, I can even use their existing partners as an example. Is he or she going to last forever? Do they have an expiration date? And number two, being with them, is it always satisfying? Is your phone always satisfying? Sometimes you click on a link, it doesn't go to the link. Sometimes it shuts off on its own. Has a mind of its own. And lastly, anatta, which is it under your control? Whatever it is, it may be. Rarely are things fully within our control. It's beautiful. The 3 marks of existence is so beautiful. It gives instant insight into everything. So we clearly see how all this is, and hopefully today's Dhamma talk, I was able to give a comprehensive example that at the time of this talk, all of us watch CNN, all of us are pretty informed about what's going on in the world. That is necessary. Yes, you must know what's going on around in the world. You know, sometimes in our house and not knowing what's going on in the world could be detrimental, especially if weather is coming, or earthquakes, hurricanes here in Florida, so on and so on. However, today's talk aimed to caution all of us to bring it back, the middle way of living, the middle way of being exposed to the world at hand, and to remind ourselves to come back to the Dhamma, and so much work we have within the Dhamma. It's joyful list of things to do. It is never seen as a chore. I've never seen studying the Dhamma as a chore. I never experienced it, no matter how difficult this journey was for me. I liked it. It was challenging. It brought out the best in me. And to sit here and to pass this along to all of you, and to encourage all of you to do the same, no matter where you're at in life, no matter how young you are, no matter how old you are. There were people within moments before they died, achieved enlightenment right there and then, because they changed last minute, achieved instant insight. There are so many stories in the suttas that are inspiring, that brings it back. I am here. And I hope to remind all of you of all of the different types of meditations, to explore the four protective meditation functions, the 10 recollections, right? Whatever you're weak at, study it. Whatever we are not good at, practice it. And slowly you will get good at every single one of them. And if you have family, children, friends, neighbors that you love and care about, try to perfect this quite fairly quick. And pass it along. Pass on the torch like the Olympics. You will always be remembered in this lifetime as one who came, one who conquered, and subsequently, one who left. He came, he conquered, and then he left. She came, she conquered, and then she left. But what an impact she had on the world. What an impact he had on this planet while he was here. So at this time, I like to conclude my Dhamma talk, and I like to open up for questioning from everyone that is present today.
All right, Venerable Sir. If you have any question, please, you can ask.
You guys may need to unmute. I see a lot of muted microphones. Hello, Tom.
Hi, thank you for the talk. It was great to be reminded the importance of concentrated practice, to take it out of your everyday life and to spend some time alone with your own practice, in addition to how you mindfully move through this world. So thank you.
Thank you, Tom. It's difficult for me as a young teacher to, especially the Zoom thing or the Discord thing. Sometimes I cannot see faces. So the instructions the Buddha left for monastic teachers is that we have to gauge people where they're at in life and try to find ways to relate and make sure that they remember what was being taught so that people can carry it throughout their days and the forthcoming days to come. But without seeing faces, we teachers now have to adjust to the modern day technologies. And then I'm surprised when people unmute and hit the hit the video. But yeah. Do we have any additional questions from members that are present on here? Any questions about meditation, techniques, the Four Noble Truths, Noble Eightfold Path? Okay.
All right, Venerable Sir, it looks like a normal question. Thank you again for your kind Dhamma talk. So I really enjoy it and hope to see you in future very soon. I will call back later some other time. Thanks again, and I wish you good health. And by the power of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, by the power of all the Bodhisattva, you will be well and happy. Then you can contribute to the Buddhist world about your service. Thanks again.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a good surprise without any preparations of a Dhamma topic. I hope that it was universal for all that was listening today, and I'll be more than happy to assist in any future invitations. Thank you for all of the members on here, laymen, laywomen, and thank you, Most Venerable Shanti, and all of the bhikkhus at your monastery. May you all be well, be happy, always be free and healthy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, thank you again. Right now we're going to chant the page 4 and page 10. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Buddham saranam gacchami,
Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami.
Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to save them all. Deluding passions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them all. Dhamma gates are limitless. I vow to study them all. Buddha's way is supreme. I vow to attain it.
May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and the sick find health relief. May all merit be extended to everyone, that we, together with all beings, may gain Buddha's way. Om Mani Padme Hum.
thank you again for everybody. I want to say thanks for the most Honorable Tridao. We'll contact you later. And thanks again for everybody. By the way, next Sunday, which is, I believe the Sunday is 17th, Sai Marjan, Nepalese teacher, he's going to give a Dhamma talk. So I hope everybody will see you in the next Sunday. Again, thanks for everybody, and by the power of the Buddha Dhamma Sangha and all the power of all the Bodhisattvas, may all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.